Hey, friend. Chris Ringler here at Spook Chris. I've talked about making movies before in the past in my blog and being involved in movie making and stuff, and I thought I'd talk about kind of my own journey in short. Everybody is going to have a different experience, but mine, maybe it'll inspire you or shine a little light on. As far as I'm concerned, if I can make a short film, I mean, anybody can. I think for a lot of the creative projects we want to get involved in with writing or making movies or whatever, we look at the end result before we look at kind of how we get there. And then when you start to think of how you get to the end result, you just talk yourself out of it. I had worked on a movie with some friends and wrote parts of it and filmed some of it, shot it, did some of the special effects, and it was for someone that he saw the end goal. He was like, I'm going to make a movie and it's going to go on the streaming services and I'm going to make all this money from it. So he saw kind of an end result, and a lot of people see that. They do that. Especially you see that in the horror genre, where people see, oh gosh, I'm going to make a bunch of money because people love horror, so I'm just going to make this movie, and they kind of crap it out. All of us working on it, we're all in. It was a fun experience, and it was fun to work with all of our, these friends and stuff. It was a bummer that the director didn't understand what he wanted to do and why he was doing it. It became problematic, and as a result, the movie wasn't finished. And that's about the best example I can give you. It's because I think that happens more than we ever hear. Is people starting these projects and then they just don't go anywhere because, again, people don't think about the totality of what this is. But saying that, if you want to make a movie, you can make a movie. You can make a movie on nothing. So I'll tell you my story. So I did podcasts with some friends, and one of the podcasts afterwards, one of our friends was like, hey, I have $5,000. I want to make a movie. The three of us, we're going to make a movie. We're gonna make a movie together. It's like, I can buy the equipment we need. Let's just make a movie. And it was, I used to make movies as a kid, with a friend, and we would shoot mostly improvisational stuff. But we had a great time, and I loved it. It was like camcorder stuff, and it really fueled a passion in me. And I didn't do it ever afterwards. So I was excited. I wrote a piece and was excited, and the one friend shot his, and I was in his film. And then when it came time for me to do mine, his stepdaughter was going to be in it, and the other friend's kids were going to be in it, and I assembled a cast. It was going to be great. And there was no more offers of money. So I was like, well, I just bought my own equipment, just, camcorder and everything, nothing too fancy, just a handheld camcorder and just some of that kind of gear to go with it, more than I needed. But I figured it's my movie. It was gonna be part of an anthology. We were making an anthology, so mine was one piece of an anthology. I was like, it's my passion on this. I'm just gonna do it. So I put the money in, and I remember, the idea that, oh gosh, we're going to do this, and got the cast together and did kind of a read through, which is just, I haven't done since, because I've shortened the scale or lowered the scale of my movies, shrunk them. But it was crazy to suddenly, I'm surrounded by all these people that are going to be involved in this movie. And I filmed some of it, and it was great. It was really neat to be in that process. I had been an actor in movies. I've had a couple adaptations of things I've written, and I got to be in one of them. And it's always interesting when someone adapts something that you've written, because the way you see it and the way they see it are not the same, and it's just fascinating, the differences. But yeah, so after, we do the read through, and then it's like, cool, let's go film this thing. So we go, and I shot at least half of the film with the cast, and we filmed it in kind of the woods of this church that my friend's family went to. And it was small little woods, but we, that's one of the fun things is making movies. You realize all you're seeing is what's in front of the camera. So you're seeing this. So on the other side of the camera, that's where all the crew is and everything else, and you don't know what's there. So you could be shooting, make a set, and it could be a Gothic castle. And on the other side of it is a mall, because you don't know, and you don't see that side. So it was at a church, and we just needed a little bit of woods for what my story was. The last Halloween, so it was about it was 3 stories in kind of one big shell about Halloween. So I shot this stuff and realized that the audio isn't going to work, that it was too close in proximity to a highway. So it's like, like you hear such heavy traffic, it just wouldn't work. So go back to the drawing board, and that's a huge bummer. It's like, man. And in the course of all that, a chunk of the cast dropped out. So I rewrote and reworked some things and had to recast, shrunk some of the ideas and recast a bunch of it. And luckily I had, if you're going to make a movie, friendship is the one coin that you have to, that is the coin that you cannot, money can never equate to, because you're going to have to, you're leaning on friends as actors for food, for equipment, for space to film, for support. With me, it was a friend and his family's kids and their friends, and then another friend of mine, her daughter is involved in film and stuff and has been involved in theater, and her friends became involved, and so I had to kind of go through, and the movie evolved. And that's one of the things too, is you have to always be willing to see past, your set in stone vision. You can say, I want to make this epic science fiction movie, huge budget, it's going to be great, blah, blah, blah. Well, you don't have the money. And so you have to kind of shrink it to, what is that story? You're telling the story. Your fealty is to the story. You have to serve that master. When we were doing film festival, we saw a short film. We got a short film in, and it bummed me out anytime I had to turn the movie down, that it just didn't fit our thing. It bummed me out. But one of them, it was an interesting story, but they relied on CGI special effects for this thing, and they were so corny and so bad, it absolutely pulled you out of the movie. One of the reasons I like found footage is because you don't necessarily have to have big special effects and stuff. So it puts the onus on the filmmaker to have good cast, good writing, and to really create tension. Reworking things, it's, you can't be set in stone, because things are going to change. And so I kind of evolved what I wanted to do, and found a different place to shoot. We shot at a different location, and it was basically, since it was 3 chunks, it was 3 chunks of filmmaking. And so it was one chunk with one set of cast on one day, another in a different location, and then a third. And again, for the second and third locations, I went to where I used to live, because there was woods. And for part of it, I did still have the car issue, but thankfully, a wonderful filmmaker named Thomas Berdinsky was gracious enough, and this is where friendships come in, to go in and work on the sound, to make it a little clearer, so it wasn't as bad. But I also, I had no budget, but I employed artist friends. One artist friend to create cloaks, and she made cloaks for me for a couple of the creatures in it, and dyed it, and amazing. And another friend made a mask, and it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous mask. It's amazing. And outside the camera stuff, that was the budget. I leaned on these friends to be in the film, and they did it as a friendship. And I reached a point in making the movie, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. I'm worn out. It's not gonna be finished. It's not what I wanted. But we had gone so far, and I had filmed so much stuff. I felt a responsibility to finish it, because all of these people had supported me and worked on the film and put their time and effort into this. Even when we had scripts on set, and folks, I can't memorize things, so we go almost line by line to be okay. It's like, and you're gonna say, and blah 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 blah, and blah 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 blah. Okay, great. Okay, we're gonna do it again. Blah blah, and you make it work. Especially if you're not paying people, if you're not working with professional actors, you make it work, and you do the best you can. And so I felt like I owed it to them to go through and finish the film. So I did, and edited it together. And me and one of the artists, the one that did the mask, he had come over to my house, and with all these instruments that he had, it was just like put together, and we did music for a couple hours, and I made a score out of that, and it was super unique and super interesting. And again, just someone that I know as a friend. I didn't pay anyone. Not to, I didn't have the money. But like, that's where the friendships come in. And I did my best not to betray that friendship or to take advantage of it. And so if you make a movie, you got to have a plan. You got to know what you want to make. And you can't waste people's time. You have to, because the hardest thing, and one of the reasons, again, that I've found that movies don't get made is that you're trying to, we're going to do it all in one day. It's going to be great, everything in one day. Well, that day goes fast with all the takes, and if you're working with lighting, and then suddenly you have to get these same people back for another day, and then another day, and then another. And it drags on to such a point that people have lives. They have jobs, they have families, they have relationships, they have things going on. You have to respect that. So you have to be very mindful when you make a movie. That's why, from my first movie to my second one, I went from a pretty decent sized cast to a very small cast of 2 of us. And the next movies I've written, you could make with much less than maybe 3 people, maybe. Because it's easier at my level. I'm just doing it for fun. I love making movies. I think it's fun. I like all the aspects. I love editing. It's so fun because, again, you'll hear this from filmmakers. So you have all this footage and it makes no sense, and then you put it together and oh my gosh, this is the story we have, and you can kind of change things. You can move things, like a scene that this goes here, way over here. You can move it to here. It has more impact there, and it's amazing. And my experience was, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was super stressful. When making the second movie, I did my own special effects. Well, for both of them, I did my own special effects. I did a gore gag that didn't quite work out, but trying to figure out how to do it and shoot it by myself, it was super fun. I'm in both movies as a monster. Well, I guess as the monsters in the movies, because again, I want to have skin in the game. It wasn't not an ego thing. It was these are my movies. I know what these characters are. I'd rather put that stress and that onus on me. And it's fun to do this and to share this with friends. I've been in, like I said before, other movies, and it's fascinating to see how people shoot and how they make movies. That's been fun with our conventions that my friends and I have done, and the films that we've gotten for film festivals, and just the filmmakers I know. Everyone has their own process and how they do it, and it's amazing and it's fascinating. And all I can say is, if you want to make a movie, if you want to do something creative, just to do it. Find a way. The phones are amazing tools now. You just have to, think of your idea, big as you want it to be, and then you have to okay, cool. If you really want to make this as a movie or whatever, you have to think, okay, well, this is the world. This is the box I have to make it in. I have $100, $1,000, $1 million, whatever it is. This is the box. Boop boop. It's the length, how many people you can get, how much you can pay them or not pay them. How many friends you have. What you can afford to do, and then you put it in this box and you make the box work. The box is bigger on the inside than it seems. And it's not that I'm not going to make it because I can't have a car crash because it's stupid. When I was a kid and we were making a movie, there's a scene where we were 18-year-olds. It's a car accident scene, And my friend went over across the street from where he lived to a firehouse and told them what we were doing. We had a sheriff's car, an ambulance, a fire truck. He put cellophane on the windshield and fake blood, and it looked like the windshield was cracked. And then put like our friends on the hood, dead. And it turned out great. And paired with music, it really was great. That was genius. And people, people are willing to do stuff and work with you if you're not gonna screw them over. And that's the biggest thing. Is so many people are looking to make a dollar off of somebody else's work, or they're just like, they're in it for reasons that are not pure. And if you're really just, I want to make a movie, I want to do this, and maybe if you make $1 or something, cool. But a lot of it is just like why you're doing it. And if you want to do it, just freaking do it. Like I say, with phones and stuff now, and you have, gosh, there's probably special effects, like free things, there's free music nowadays. There's so many things you can do. You can make movies by yourself. You just have to know how to do it. Like I have this on a gimbal right now, and it can follow you and do all these things. So it's a matter of your imagination. And again, this is what comes back down to, I love found footage movies because one person could do them. And if you are inventive enough, smart enough, and have a good enough idea, you could do it by yourself. The movie Leaving DC, it's a cast of a couple people. It's essentially one location, then some woods, and it's chilling, and it's really well done. And it's possible. Anything's possible. And with my second movie, like I said, I closed the box. We shot it in one day. I did a couple voiceovers. I shot a little bit of B-roll, which is like kind of the stuff that you don't have your main actors in, or it's not the focus, by myself, and used some of the extra sound music that we had made for the first film. Both of these movies are online on my channel, and they're not works of pure art, but I think they're fun, and I think you can tell we had fun making it, and I sure as heck did. So whatever. But so that's been my experience, and you can as you get more ambitious and you get more invested, you start investing money into it, and you start working on the lighting and the sound and all of the things to make it a higher production value. And to get, if you can get better sound and better lighting and better actors, and also it gets more eyes on your work. And there's so many film festivals out there that odds are someone will show it out there. You just got to make sure that you're not putting yourself behind a stone by paying $50 to have somebody look at it and go, nah, no thanks. But man, if you want to do this stuff, do it. It's just anything else. If you want to do it, do it. The only one truly stopping you is you, because somebody out there probably wants to see it. There's always somebody out there that wants to see something interesting and new, and just take a chance. There you go. Spooky Chris, giving you my little 5 cents. SpookyChris.com, find all my stuff. Like I said, you can find all my videos. And I've done little tiny micro shorts and stuff they're on my YouTube. I will talk to you later, my friends.